Hello guys! Oh, this is always such a banger to start the stream off with. Let me switch it off and I'll bring on my face and we'll get things started, guys. Okay, so here is my face. Hey everybody, how are we doing? So the season is officially over. So this is my first stream in my summer stream. So I'm gonna try and pick a few topics each week to discuss with my guest. And yeah, that's how we'll get through the summer. Obviously, there's still the summer football going on with the Copa America and the Euros. So yeah, still enough football to watch. And yeah, so let's bring on my guests for today and we'll get things started. So hello guys, say hello to the stream. How are we doing?
Everyone.
Hi everyone.
Awesome. All right, so how we're gonna do is I'll pop the questions, and yeah, I think I'm going to start every time with Navid, and then move over to Umer after that, and yeah, we'll go from there. So let's start with some introductions, shall we? So Navid, introduce yourself a little bit and what you do in terms of your Twitter presence and what people might know you from, and your highlights of the season this season. What were some of your memories of the season?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Navid Nolagai, 25-year-old dude studying Middle Eastern studies, previously journalism studies. But on Twitter, I'm a guy who watches youth football more than Barca youth football more than the first team, and I write about it on my profile and on another profile called Young Coolers. And yeah, that's basically what I do. Not much more. And I write some other bullshit once in a while, but mostly Barca bullshit.
Awesome.
Yeah, and highlight of the season. I mean, we did play great football for a couple of months, and I was actually very enthusiastic at that period. Unfortunately, it didn't last for long.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it lasted long enough that we won one trophy. We should have won two actually in that period. But yeah, that's that. Like, but one specific highlight, since I personally like Ricky Puig very much. I loved his. I mean, a personal single or like two single highlights are probably his two goals this season.
Yeah.
And then in the Super Cup penalty shootout against Sociedad, semi-final, I think. I can't remember if it was.
Yeah, it's true. He had a couple of good moments in this season for sure. Yeah.
And then one goal against, I can't remember, it was Elche or something, like completely unimportant goal.
Yeah.
But it was his first and a pretty good moment for him. So yeah, like on a personal level, for the first team, only for the first team.
Yeah. Wow, awesome. So yeah, big Ricky Puig fan. I think that might be interesting when we talk about some of the topics later. So Umer, introduce yourself a little bit, and what were some of your favorite moments?
Yeah, so I'm actually a Messi fan from 2009, and I'm a Messi Twitter account. I post Messi propaganda daily. So yeah, and I have been a Barcelona fan ever since I was a Messi fan. But Barcelona's result have been quite disappointing in the last few years. So tough times.
True.
Yeah, and as for the highlight of the season, yeah, of course, as Navid said, it has to be the Copa del Rey. We should have won 2 trophies, but unfortunately we couldn't. So yeah, the Copa del Rey has to be the highlight of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought it was still a pretty good, running from the team to be in the running for the La Liga for this long. But on the other hand, there was enough opportunities to even go top of the table, and the team didn't take it, which was a little bit disappointing in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, we cut the gap from 12 points to 3 points, and then we couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, it's true. So close. I think some of the defining games were the Granada game, and after that there was
Yeah, the Celta one.
Yeah, exactly. Shame. We were so close. So, did you guys watch the Champions League final yesterday? And what were your thoughts? And what did you enjoy about Pep's tactics? Naveed, go for it.
I mean, it was honestly a pretty bad game. I think the first 10 minutes or so were entertaining. The rest were just frustrating to watch from Man City perspective. I don't care about that club. I just wanted Pep to win.
Yeah.
Like the rest of us probably. But yeah, I didn't get much out of it. No, I just it was just 90 minutes. It was nothing special from my point of view. I had some guests as well, so I wasn't like 100% focused all the time, but I was just frustrated, and I was annoyed by the fact that like the entire City team, they just choose a day to not play well collectively or individually, like any of them, while Chelsea, they did the exact opposite, and it would have been very undeserved if City have scored a goal towards the end, even though it could have changed a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Then it could have gone extra time. I was kind of hoping for Aguero to get that goal. What a farewell would that have been if he pulled his team through the game. But it wasn't to be. I think most of the Barcelona fan base was kind of hoping for Pep to win, not necessarily maybe City, but more like Pep Guardiola to win. So yeah, it was interesting to follow that yesterday. But I think I would agree with you. First 10 to 20 minutes where Chelsea was creating some good chances and City was putting on a lot of pressure. It was interesting to watch. But then after that was it went down in intensity. And then Pep couldn't get that goal back to pull it back. So yeah, it was a interesting final. Uma, what was your thoughts on the final?
Yeah, I'd agree with what you both said. Actually, like Manchester City didn't play up to the level that they play. I mean, the rest of the Champions League games, you see, that was a completely different side. I don't know what went wrong, but Pep Guardiola got it horribly wrong. So, like in the whole game they had one shot on target, so that was a shame. I mean, they didn't create enough chances, and as you said that you wanted Aguero to score that goal, but the forwards were not getting supplies, to be fair. Like, even if you see the Chelsea goal, Mount created a glorious opportunity with that pass that was finished by Havertz.
Yeah.
So I think they lacked in creativity in the final.
Yeah, obviously Kevin De Bruyne went off injured, Thiago Silva went off injured, so there was some drama there. So yeah, it was still a good final, but yeah, it's disappointing in terms of the stories that are happening. So I think my biggest win was to see Kante smile, because who doesn't like Kante? So yeah, that was probably my biggest favorite moment. Him getting man of the match was good to see.
To be honest, like Kante is he's the kind of guy who would have been very happy for second place as well. He would have smiled as well.
Yeah,
I think.
True.
Yeah. And that would they would have made a story out of that as well. Like maybe he would have got man of the match still, and they would be like still, like the PR around Kante is like he like no matter what he does, like he didn't kiss the trophy. Oh, he's the nicest guy ever to exist. I mean, come on. But yeah, I love. There's plenty of readers who love him, and he's he's so likable. But obviously, like there is this massive. Everyone thinks this, and it's getting exaggerated a lot as well as a consequence. Like especially when he wins, he. I mean, he's a great player and he plays well, and he usually plays on the teams that win.
It's true. No, the PR was in full force yesterday. I saw it everywhere. But it seems to be always when a player from an English team, they always give a little bit of extra PR to those players. So yeah, it was in full.
Ballon d'Or, Kante Ballon d'Or. Yeah. Yes, come on, man.
I saw that.
Like
as well.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I think it's only because they people don't want Messi, for example, to win another one. So I think that's why they're trying to find any player that has a decent or like any shout to give them PR. Because earlier in the season it was Mbappe, then it was and now it's Kante. So yeah, it seems to be they just
Neymar. People were talking about Neymar as well
Neymar
after
too,
after the Bayern game.
Yeah, true.
And so it's just reaction. I mean, it is very impressive for Kante to get man of the match in both the semis and the final.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, Neymar in 2014, like in the 2015, like he was practically he scored a goal in every single knockout game, for example, and he was so crucial for Barca. But like nobody would talk like that about him, you know.
No.
And we're all probably like hoping that Messi can win the Copa for many reasons, but one of them would just be to like make everyone shut the fuck up about the Ballon d'Or. Like it's getting annoying already.
I totally agree, man. They're trying to give every player a shout for the Ballon d'Or nowadays. Okay, well, some good reactions on the final, and I think. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm bringing up the Copa America later in the chat. So yeah, maybe let's talk a bit about Barcelona again. What do you think Laporta's decision is to leave Koeman a little bit in hanging now? Like he wants to make his decision later. And what was your opinions about Koeman and his performance this season? Navid, do you want to start first?
I think he deserves plenty of respect. Actually, just to start off with, he does deserve respect. Like he has taken the team from literally rock bottom, taken the team during and like generational crisis at the club.
Yeah.
Unmatched crisis at the club for centuries, no doubt about it. And he gave the team some kind of stability. He played a lot of interesting players.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting players played very well under him. A lot of unknown factors played very, very well under him. Messi was happy again. Messi went from like wanting to leave to being at least a bit more just happy on the pitch at the very, very least.
Yeah.
We won a trophy. We were competitive again. In some ways, we weren't. Like we lost by a big margin in the Champions League at the end, but at the same time we went out with at least some dignity left. We won a trophy as well. As I said, we should have won 2. We should have won 3 actually. But the thing is that it's just still not enough, and it's still not what we should expect, and it's still not what Laporta wants for sure, because he definitely should have other plans than Koeman. Koeman is quite limited in some ways. We've seen he's not the best coach.
Right.
There is he's not the best coach to have on the bench, purely from a technical perspective. We've seen that a lot as well, and now we also see what happens. A very, very ugly side of Koeman is the controversial side. He is someone as a coach, he loves to create drama.
Yeah.
And he usually creates it as well in all the clubs that he coached in. Just ask Valencia fans when he was at Valencia a decade ago or more than a decade ago. He was such a drama queen, and no Valencia fan would ever they just laugh at him now. They laughed when he joined Joaquin, one of the Valencia's best players at the time.
Yeah.
He hates him so much because he was so wrong, mistreated by Koeman, and we've seen a lot of weird manhandling from Koeman as well. But in general, if he had won La Liga as well, which they should have, he would have been like, it would have been a question whether or not he would continue, like as if Laporta would be able to let go of such a successful coach after some very, very bad years.
Yeah.
But actually the final stretch of the league was that was the proof of him not being able to create the proper environment like towards the end, like because it was absolute like fiascos. I think we need some stability. We need not short transition coaches, but like long-term projects with like some actual exciting ideas about how the club should be moved. And there are many things like there's some games where we play good football, but there are definitely some, I don't know how I say, like methodological, philosophical areas of the game that we can improve massively upon. But yeah, Laporta's problem is that there isn't, that for him there's not an obvious replacement. If Guardiola wanted to come back, of course, but it doesn't seem to be the case. He doesn't trust Xavi a lot, presumably. There are some issues from Laporta. So he's probably currently like calling and holding a lot of meetings with different coaches and whatever to see who could be his guy, because he needs someone who can carry his project.
Yeah, for sure. It seems that he wants to take his time, and yeah, you're right in saying that there was some drama the past week, some Twitter tweets in regards. So yeah, it was a lot of things is happening. And Umar, what is your thoughts on Laporta's handling of the Koeman situation, and your thoughts on Koeman's season?
Yeah, like as you guys know that Barcelona in the big games like against PSG, against Juventus, the Ronaldo game, we didn't perform up to the level. So okay, I blame Koeman for that. Like there were tactical errors that we made, and even in the end of the session when the La Liga race was on top, we didn't play Sergio Dest and we played Sergi Roberto. So there were some questions that need to be asked. However, like if it's 70% on the coach, then it has to be 30% on the players, because the players made errors as well. Like we see Langlet, he often makes errors, and we see Roberto, and we haven't been clutch. So yeah, I think Koeman had a bad season, but Laporta should have handled it more professionally. I mean, he should have made a decision. Like it's such a big club, and Koeman is a big legend of the club as a player. So you can't be unsure of whether he'll stay or not, and keep him confused as well. So that kills the spirit. So I think he should have made a decision. Like he should be clear about what he thinks. So I guess that's what it should be.
It's true. It's kind of now it's kind of like a waiting game. But I thought Navid brought a good point that probably Laporta doesn't know who's the obvious replacement with how you call it, Xavi probably not getting the full backing yet, and I don't know. That's my next question actually. So if Koeman does leave, like in the next week or so, there'll probably be a lot of decisions made. Who would you want as the replacement of Koeman, Navid?
I mean, I'm definitely for getting Xavi. I don't hide that.
Yeah.
And I will gladly defend it as well. Need somebody who will unapologetically come to the club and take it in the direction that we all want it to be taken, footballing wise.
Yeah.
We know exactly what kind of football that we will get, and we know exactly what kind of players that he will play. Imagine Wijnaldum under Koeman, how much of an influence Koeman would give him to begin with, and imagine Wijnaldum under Xavi, technically limited player who wouldn't be an important player for Xavi. I mean, you could be like an important fixed 11 player for Xavi. I mean, there's like this monumental difference will tell you everything you need about those two. Like a choice between those two, I don't even know why Laporta would hesitate on that.
Right.
Maybe he's waiting for some other names before probably settling with Xavi. But there are also questions to be asked about Xavi. He hasn't his way of thinking of the game hasn't exactly been challenged a lot after he's left Barca. He went to a place where he was the king to begin with on the pitch and now off the pitch as well in Qatar. But a lot of people are also trying to like purposely neglect Xavi's work at Al Sadd from this Eurocentric perspective of like all football outside of Europe is like fixed beforehand, and like Al Sadd is the most it's the biggest club in Qatar, and it was so easy for Xavi and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the simple fact is that Xavi as a player at Al Sadd, he won one trophy per season for 4 years that he played there. Now after 2 years of managing the club there, they have won 3 trophies per season. So like the success has definitely gone up. He has improved his team. They didn't play as well in the first season as they did now. So like a clear improvement in the team. It doesn't just happen coincidentally. If he was a bad coach, they probably would not have like just done better. And yeah, I think that there are pretty obvious arguments for Xavi. And I think that Laporta would probably like someone more prolific, like for example Hansi Flick. They really wanted Hansi Flick. The German coach, like Julian Nagelsmann, would have been a great coach, I think, for Barca. But yeah, now there are some other names. Marcelo Gallardo from River Plate, who seems like a great coach in Argentina. Whether or not he'd bring the same kind of football in the same way and the same success to Barca is another problem. I would never compare him with Tata Martino.
Right.
That would also be, and that would also be very Eurocentric of me, of being like, oh, football is not the same. It's not the same coaching in Argentina as it is in Barcelona. Of course, it can be the same. It's not the same as in Qatar, as in Barcelona either. But it's not something to disqualify you. But I really just want someone who can come in and be this
a long-term coach.
This colossal coming back to simply just set the standards and make the right, like on the surface, the right decisions,
right,
and hopefully also gain the confidence of Laporta. Like he needs that. I really hope that Laporta can be persuaded sooner or later, because I really don't want to see Koeman continue, and I can't see it happening either. Like this past week, I mean, the amount of drama, it was so childish at times, and it was very contradictory from the Koeman camp. I mean, they really tried to play this propaganda game in the press, and it was kind of awful to see, and they leaked a lot of information about his salary.
It's true.
Like all this kinds of bullshit to pressure Laporta, because Laporta is in a pressured situation. Like Koeman has really tried to use this against Laporta and pressure him even further, which is also why that I think that one of the biggest reasons why he had to come out with that press conference was just to
calm everything down.
Like just cut the bullshit and just be as transparent as possible. And I would like to see a decision taken as soon as possible. And I hope that it doesn't involve the continuation of Koeman.
Cool. Well, very clear. Xavi as your favorite. So, Umar, what are your thoughts on a follow-up on Koeman if he does get discontinued this week?
Yeah. So basically, like as Naveed said, he wants Xavi to come at Barcelona, But the problem is, like Xavi has managed a team in the Qatari league, so he doesn't have the experience of coaching in Europe. So it still might be early to get him in because we have seen what happened with Andrea Pirlo as Juventus coach and Frank Lampard as Chelsea coach. I mean, they're legends, and I have no hate against Xavi. I would love to see Xavi as Barcelona coach, but I think it's still too early. And yeah, we were linked to Hansi Flick. I would have loved to see Flick come to Barcelona because we all know what he achieved with Bayern the last season.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, he is now the manager of the German national team. So yeah. Uh, I mean, I don't know who I saw, but yesterday someone was saying thoughts on Joachim Low as the manager of Barcelona. So yeah, he has a good record with Germany. I mean, he's a world champion with Germany. So yeah, but most probably he
Kim
won't
Löw?
sign. But I'd love to.
Löw?
Ah, I
Yeah,
would want.
what were you saying?
Sorry, you jumped in a bit. Navid, can you repeat?
I was just asking if it was Joachim Löw, like the former German national team coach, because I would disagree.
Exactly.
Sorry, Uma, did you say you want Löw at Barcelona? Nah, you can't be serious with that, mate.
Nah, no, actually, I'm not saying that it's possible or something, but yeah, my point was that he has been good with the German national team, and anyways, he's better than Koeman, so I definitely want him at the club.
Interesting. What's your thoughts on that?
Moses is better. Well, I mean, you could say that he has been an integral part of the coaching revolution in Germany. Whether or not he has the capacity or the ability or if he fits in this context of the club right now, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, would he even play the system that is required for me? Like in my opinion, at Barca, I'm not even entirely sure. I remember his Germany as being mostly a 4-2-3-1. I absolutely despise this formation and every single variant of it at Barca. Koeman also absolutely failed with it.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it ever again at the club. No, I wouldn't want to see him. Yeah, I know. I mean, he's a good coach. He's also a funny man. He likes to pickle his nose and his butthole and whatever, and taste a bit of those during the game. He will get a lot of attention in Mundo Deportivo and Sport for that. Maybe it'll.
True.
but no, I haven't seen his name pop up, and I can't imagine him being.
Yeah, actually, what I was saying was that I mean, except for the formation thing, like Navid, you were spot on with that point. But like Koeman lacks the mentality to play in big games. I mean, Lowe has that experience. So any good coach that knows how to win big games, I mean, that's a plus point for us because Koeman, like we saw in the games against PSG, against Juventus and Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, we didn't win even a single game. So I think we lack that, and we need a coach who can, win us big games. So that's what my point was.
Cool. So I guess it's more about the fact that a coach that needs to come in that can tactically perform in the big games, and that's definitely I think what I'm getting from both of you guys, that is what is something that's missing. Okay, good points. Loving the points. So my next question is I put this in here because Navid is a very big La Masia expert, so I wanted to see and get the viewers and listeners some details into what La Masia talent is coming up and which ones you reckon could make promotion for the first team next season, Navid.
4 players will definitely be promoted. Iñaki Peña in goal, Alex Collado in midfield or attack, Elias Moriba in midfield and Oscar Mingueza.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like purely technically, they're going to be promoted. They're going to be registered for the first team. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Whether or not they'll all stay is another issue. Iñaki Peña, whether or not he'll be the second choice goalkeeper, or maybe we'll sign Gianluigi Donnarumma, which is another discussion. But yeah. So, and Collado as well is unsure whether there'll be enough space for him in the squad. I hope so. But otherwise, there's also like this new kind of definition, like it's, you're not promoted, but you're not full-time Barca B player either. Like you're like this kind of, they call it like the first team dynamic.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're registered with the B team, but you're first team dynamic. And we can expect Nico Gonzalez to be in the first team dynamic next season. That means training a lot with the first team,
right,
while playing with the B team, and eventually, hopefully, throughout the season, some minutes with the first team as well. Nico, I think so, and then Arnau Tenas, goalkeeper. I think he will also continue to train a lot with the first team, and then Alejandro Balde, perhaps. Yeah. It's not as confirmed as Nico, but yeah, Nico is currently a shout for currently the best bet for Sergio Busquets' competitor and future replacement. There's a long way until that, but yeah, he's been phenomenal. Both in central midfield, but also in defensive midfield for Barca this season. Even at right back, he played at right back as well.
Right back, yeah.
But no, he's a player to keep an eye out for next season. Like in terms of like practical first team minutes, I think that he could play La Liga football next season. He's like physically, he's a monster, and at the same time, technically, he's just like very cool on the ball. He's a great player. He's also very smart. He's extremely smart and versatile. He can play in both interior, central, like the central midfield, or the defensive midfield.
Cool. So there's some good youngsters coming up. Is Nico is not the same as Jandor, right? Jandor is another player, or is that the same?
Yeah, Jandro is a bit of a complicated case. Oh yeah. First of all, we're shooting this on the 30th of May.
Yeah. Tomorrow
is the last day of Jandro's contract, and it's not been renewed yet.
Oh wow.
It's because he has a clause in his contract where they can renew it for 2 additional years. It hasn't been done so yet. It's a consequence of Nico being in pole position in his position because Jandro has had a inconsistent season. He started out as being one of the absolute best B players, and it was very annoying that the source of irritation for those of us who follow, that he didn't play a bit more for the first team, or just train with the first team at the very least, be in the dynamics, because he had a great season last season as well.
Yeah.
But then he just bumped into a lot of injuries, big and small injuries, like smaller, bigger injuries, and in fact, his the simple fact that his position just got taken over by Nico.
So they play the same position for the B squad.
Not exactly, because Nico was playing in central midfield up until then. He took Eli's place in the squad in the first 11 when Elias was getting more and more. Elias and Nico played together as well, but there were a few games where the midfield was packed, but they had no right back in the squad, so Nico played at right back and did well there as well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about Barca B. I mean, there are hierarchies at Barca B as well, and just because someone starts ahead of someone else at some point in the season, that doesn't mean that he has more potential than him, or that he's gonna be thought about for the first team ahead of him. Like we saw with Oscar Mingueza, he suddenly just popped up for the first team and played a lot better than he has ever played for Barca B. And sorry.
No, it's okay.
And yeah, I mean, these things happen. It isn't just written in the stars whether or not who will come to the first team or make it to the first team. But Jandro right now, he has not renewed. There hasn't been any news about it. It's annoying. But if he does renew and if he does stay at the club, I think that he'll have another season at Barca B, where he will hopefully lead the midfield. But maybe he doesn't want that. He has been a regular at Barca B for 2 seasons now.
Right.
I mean, another thing, like when Jandro did get fit again, Nico had just taken his position and he played a bit out of position in central midfield instead, actually. So, and also there's another thing, Ronald Koeman, one good thing about him, very good thing about him actually, is that he does care about the academy. Like he has had this very, very bad manhandling of Ricky Puig, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But he went to Barca B games. He showed a clear interest for the team, and there is this news about him going to the B game, and he saw Nico Gonzalez for the first time, and he was like, "Who is that blonde kid?"
Yeah.
And he was very impressed by Nico, but obviously it's not just Koeman who has been impressed by him. He's definitely what they say, a bet from the apuesta, a bet of the club. They've given him a new contract, 500 million release clause.
Oh, wow.
You don't give a 500 million release clause to a settled B player just to stay at Barca B. You don't do that, and you don't give him a photo shoot with the new president either if he's not regarded as something special coming up. So definitely keep an eye on him. Definitely.
Cool. I love those insights. Any of those players have you watched any of those, Umar, or you heard of them coming up? I mean, I've definitely heard of most of them, but yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I've heard about most of them, but I haven't been in touch with Barca B recently, so I don't have any thoughts on this question. So I'd agree with what he said. So the next question, please.
Yeah. No, I mean, the only thing I'm getting in the chat is SJ has joined, and he's saying about Patson Daka, or AKA the new Eto. Is that a name that comes to your mind, Navi? I don't know him. Is that just a joke, or is that a real player?
Oh, he's a real player from Red Bull Salzburg.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, and he's having these numbers as Erling Haaland had, comparable.
Right.
Comparable numbers. I'm not in the favor of signing young strikers or other young players who will join the team, and then we know what's going to happen. They're just going to have a lot of time adapting, and usually in the last quite a few years, they're going to have a hard time adapting as well.
Yeah.
For the striker position, I'm stupendously optimistic about Haaland for next season. In a year.
Yeah.
We can talk about that maybe, but no, I've heard. The scout accounts on Twitter, they are like the hipster scout accounts on Twitter. They are talking about him.
Right.
Definitely worth keeping an eye on Patson Daka.
Cool. Well, I'll definitely have to keep an eye on him if he's going to pop up with some of the big clubs as a target. And
also a shout out to SJ.
Yeah, he pops in the chat sometimes. Last time when Iso was in as well, was a good chat.
And do you want to hear the statistics? In the 2021 season, he has in 25 games in the Austrian Bundesliga, 27 games he has scored 27 goals and given 7 assists. So
wow.
It's a player that we're gonna He's probably going to be one of those franchise Red Bull players who go to Red Bull Leipzig, and then we'll see.
And then he'll probably make a big transfer after that if he keeps doing that. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the transfers that are going to come into Barcelona, and if you see that them succeeding at Barcelona. So I've put in the three most familiar names in the media in here. So that's Aguero, Wijnaldum, and Depay, or Memphis, or the pie. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on these transfers. Do you think that they will succeed, or is it just Barcelona trying to get cheap deals? Or what is your thoughts on that? Well, let's start with Navid, and then we'll go on to Umer after.
I think maybe Umar has some initial points.
All right, Umar, go for it.
I've spoken a lot.
Yeah.
A bit too much, maybe.
Yeah. So actually, as for Aguero, we needed a proper number 9, a proper striker. So I think getting him for free is a good deal. But it's not a long-term deal, because Aguero has probably 2 or 3 years maximum left at the very top level. So I think it's a good deal for now. Getting him from free is good. Secondly, as for Wijnaldum, I don't understand. Okay, getting him for free is a pro in this situation, but I don't get why we need a midfielder, because we have already too many La Masia grads, so we have already a good midfield. So I think for that, Wijnaldum, okay, is a good signing, but time will tell if he succeeds at Barca or not. And as for Memphis Depay, as for Memphis Depay, I think we were having a space a few days back, and you, Marcel, you brought up the point that he was quite similar to Griezmann. So I agree to that point. He is similar to Griezmann in a way that he can drop deeper, and he's not a proper striker from which you would expect to stay up front like Lewandowski or anyone to score goals, or like Suarez in the past. So I think, if we are getting these 3 transfers for free, so that's a good thing. I mean, why not try them out? So I think it's good for Barcelona.
Yeah, it's true. I like Depay a lot, but I think if they're going to use him at Barcelona, they should try and use him mostly as a winger, because I think he's just more prolific, for example, than Dembele in the current squad. So yeah, he'll bring a good dynamic as a winger, and he'll be able to play as a better winger than when Griezmann was kind of played as a kind of makeshift winger at some games. But it all depends on which coach is going to come in and get these players under them. So yeah, I guess on Wijnaldum, Navid, you're pretty clear no with all those La Masia talents coming through. The Barca midfield is always stacked, so I don't think a midfielder was needed, in my opinion. But yeah, what are your thoughts on some of these transfers?
Yeah, from no perspective, maybe one perspective, I understand the Wijnaldum part. I would only understand it if Koeman continued, but it doesn't seem to be the case. He actually seems to be the choice of the club as well, and I'm not really fond of the idea. And as you said, everything depends on the coach, of course. And so therefore, I hope that we'll have a coach who will be able to insist on him not being a massively important player, because technically speaking, we're not talking about this kind of Barca DNA midfielder. And if we're talking about physique, there are these bullshit Mundo Deportivo articles about him being a physical midfielder, a physical signing.
Yeah.
But I mean, Elias Moriba, he also has that kind of physique. If you want a physical signing, it could be him. Nico Gonzalez, as I just said, he's also very physical. He's a player that covers a lot of space. That's good. He's a mental player, mentally. That He's mentally he's very strong, definitely strong competitor.
Yeah.
But but in fact, like at the end of the day, I just hope that we'll get someone like Xavi who will recognize the fact that we need other kind of talent, other kinds of talent in our midfield, and just use him as a utility player.
Right.
And yeah, hopefully get the best out of him in that sense. I completely agree on Agüero, and I completely agree on Agüero. I think it's a win-win situation. If he does bad in 1 year, he has 1 year. He only has 1 year left of his contract next year, and he'll probably be someone you can that you can just you can conclude that his career in Europe is practically over, and then you can we can probably sell him if he has a year left on his contract, and we don't want to keep him. Probably he's not earning a lot as well. Another massive, very important point. And if he does play well, he'll just continue. I mean, it's very simple. And I think that I definitely think that I actually think that we have a good chance of getting that number 9 that we crave, Haaland. But yeah, in terms of Depay, you can see the Griezmann comparison. If we say that he's not the 9-9,
no.
But I don't see it at all technically, because Depay, contrary to Griezmann, Depay can actually create, and he can dribble, and he can pass. Griezmann, for me, is extremely limited when going deep. He does do it sometimes, but we don't see nothing but simple passes from him. It's nothing special. He has acknowledged himself he's not a good dribbler, and we see that every single game. He's not a good dribbler. What he is good at, though, is popping up in the box and scoring important goals, actually. He has scored important goals this season. There's no doubt about it. He was crucial in our Copa win, and he would have been crucial in our Super Copa win. But I think that if we need to sell him, we have to sell him. But he's also just this fucking great personality.
Yeah.
Great player to have in the squad, and I'm very sorry that he doesn't fit in as much as we would have hoped. But if we can keep him financially, I wouldn't mind keeping him at all if we can keep him financially. But yeah, Depay, I think, could play as a 9, another kind of 9.
Yeah.
But another thing about Depay, you mentioned some great things about him, and I agree on all things, and I think that he's probably going to be good on the wing as well, a lot better than Griezmann for sure.
Yeah.
The thing is that we have to keep in mind that Ansu Fati is coming back, thank God.
Yeah.
But we cannot, and the club will not probably expect him to just come back from the first game and play 90 minutes every single game and play 50 games next season.
No,
that's not going to happen.
No.
We have to give Ansu a good, how do you say it? A good environment to return to his top level, and not to return to his top level, to fucking be an 18-year-old talent who still has lots of area to improve himself and has to find himself after this horrific injury.
Yeah, true.
So he's gonna balance. Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna lift a big burden off of Ansu's chest. And let's also talk about Eric Garcia. We didn't.
Yeah, Garcia. I mean, that maybe can be coupled into my next question. So all the players like Piqué, Busquets, what sort of value do they have for next season? And I mean, yeah, because Garcia is widely seen as someone that can be a big defender in the future. So what do you guys think about that? Those players, and then maybe Garcia coming to the club as well. Yeah.
I mean, Garcia is 100% coming. He's probably going to be official tomorrow in the upcoming days for sure. There's no doubt about it. Last reliable thing that there was some couple details left, but he's ready to be announced as a new player. Yeah. Another win-win situation actually. Because he's returning to his dream club. He's returning to his childhood club. He'll fit in like a glove from the first second. At the same time, he's a reliable player to have in your squad, like 24/7. He'll always be a good presence in the squad and in the trainings, and he's extremely smart. He'll be very good for the other the other youngsters that he's played with in the academy. Ansu, for example, is a great friend of his, and he's a great talent. He's a great talent that is that has the confidence of Pep Guardiola and Lucho. We mustn't forget that Pep himself has said that he's not played a lot because he's leaving, and that's a simple fact. Yeah, if we look back 1 year ago, he was a regular in City's defense, and he was actually probably the best defender. And for Spain, he's been a regular in their games. I don't think he'll be a regular in the Euros, but if he was, I think that he would continue to be solid. I think because he has been solid for Spain. So there's a lot of people who are trying to be very negative about him to begin with, mostly due to Manchester City fans who hate him because he's not continuing. But the fact is that a year ago they were all loving him, and they really loved him, and then the obvious fact of him wanting to come back to Barca came up in the media, and now they just use every single chance to just shit on him. Yeah. For example, here in his last game against Newcastle, his team, City, conceded 3 or 4 goals or something. If you look at if you search his name on Twitter, everyone would be like, "Oh, he's so shit. Look at all the goals that he's conceding every time Man City are playing." But if you look at the goals, he's not. You can't put the blame on him 100% for any of the goals. Manchester City's defense were just horrible, we also saw yesterday. If Eric Garcia had played yesterday and he wasn't involved in any of the goals, people would still be it's because of Eric Garcia. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So there's definitely some recency bias in that.
100%.
And about the old players, maybe we can get the old players is. Maybe we can do that afterwards.
Cool. Maybe Umar, if you start this one off, then because I kind of want to try and get this in now, because with players like Piqué and Busquets being in the last part of their career, what sort of role do you think they can play in next season? And can Barcelona compete for La Liga next season? I'm going to combine 2 questions I had. So, Umar, go for it.
Yeah. As for the Busquets and the Piqué question, since the start of 2021, Busquets has been really good. He has been vital for Barcelona in that games again in 2021. And I think he should probably, we shouldn't kick these players out, because as the younger players are coming through the academy, so they can learn a lot through these players, through the senior players. Yeah. So I think Busquets has been good. So I think we can use Busquets. He's not in his prime, so we can use him as a substitute or in alternation with our younger midfielders. And as for Piqué is past his prime, so I think he can still play a role in this Barcelona if along with Garcia, if he arrives, because we have seen what other centre backs of Barcelona like Lenglet, I think Lenglet Lenglet should not probably start the next season. So I think PK should be there in the squad as a replacement because he's a good replacement. He can be a good replacement. So, and as for the La Liga question, I think Barcelona can, yes, they can win the La Liga if they like as this season we saw they cut the point difference from 12 to 1 or 2. So we were good in La Liga this season, but at the end we weren't clutch. So I think if we the new signings are made, if we make the most of it, then I think definitely we can win La Liga. As for the Champions League, I can't say that because Champions League is a whole different competition, and like we aren't on that level if we see the past season like this season. So we probably 2 to 3 years it will take for us to be real contenders for the Champions League. But yeah, of course we can win La Liga.
Cool. And what are your thoughts of the roles of the older players in the squad for next season? And do you see Barcelona as a good contender for the La Liga title next season, Naveed?
I don't think there's any need to pick some of the old guys out just because they're old.
No.
They still have something to contribute with. But I think the important thing here is that they need competition.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing. So if we look at them one by one, Busquets still got a lot. He's the most untouchable of them, I think, because he still shows his class on a regular basis, and he has fine. He's also one of the players. He's also one of the players who have find themselves like in a pretty good form under Koeman, actually. Part of the reason is why that he doesn't have to run as much with Frenkie and Pedri next to him. So that's
true.
And yeah, it's very important. But another thing that's very important is that he can carry that defensive midfield by himself. Pjanic has been he's been injured and unimpressive. I really would have hoped that he had played a lot more and a lot better this season.
Right.
So he has to go in, and he has to be replaced by, in my opinion, Nico Gonzalez is a great player for that. Like, just throw him out there and see how he does, because honestly, I think that he'll impress. And at least for the spare minutes and the spare games that are definitely gonna be definitely there's gonna be a lot of games where Nico can rest Busquets. So Nico for Busquets, I think Busquets can continue doing what he does.
Yeah.
PK pretty much the same. If there's a defender, if we have to sell, it's Longley, and if we have some money, I wouldn't mind buying a big name centre back. But yeah, whether or not that would be maybe Pau Torres from Villarreal or Jules Koundé or Thijs de Ligt, probably not. But maybe one day,
yeah.
Hopefully one day. But or honestly, like Ronald Araujo, I think it's just a matter of time, because before he's going to be one of the best. Before he's going to be one of the best centre backs in Spain, I think it's a matter of time. So if Eric Garcia comes in and performs on a high level, I think that we have the right mix of an old PK with some young chaps. And I mean, if we're going to play a four-back, PK, Eric, Araujo and Minguez are pretty good options. But maybe if we are going to spend a lot of money this season, definitely on the centre-back. And maybe that would relieve PK of his chores a bit more. But again, like competition, like PK can't start every single game. No. Jordi Alba, same. Jordi Alba is the same. Alejandro Balde from Barca B is not ready to get promoted, and Jordi Alba needs competition. It's as simple as that. And I think Gaia for me is Mateo Alemany has to use his Valencia strings, but maybe Gaia won't come because I think he is very attached to Valencia. There were some rumors earlier, but they've seemed to stop. But he just needs some kind of competition, because Balde is not ready. He is not ready. Maybe you could incorporate Balde in the trainings because he's a good talent, and then you can whenever Alba needs a rest, you can play Serginho Dest there. And
I was going to say,
with the addition.
you could probably play
Because-
Dest as a left back,
Yeah.
and then Emerson, if he comes back,
Yes.
push him as a right back.
Which you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you will. We didn't talk about him as the signings, but he will come back. Emerson.
So it's good to
seems to be inevitable.
it's good to get some fullback options for sure as Barcelona, because Roberto, for sure, in my opinion, is not a valuable fullback option anymore, in my opinion. So.
No. I think so too. And speaking of competition, it's the same for Ter Stegen, in my opinion. He also needs some competition. Donnarumma.
Yeah.
Donnarumma might not be the best profile because he's awful with his feet. It's not a.
He's just a shot stopper. Yeah.
To say. He's an amazing goalkeeper actually, and a great talent. Some kind of competition would be great for Ter Stegen. But if you were looking at a profile, I'm just going to quote, refer to Sanjay previously asked the question. Like he said yesterday on the Spaces, it's like last night, maybe probably. Ways that like if we're looking for a profile, like someone fitting the profile, Andre Onana, it would be great to have back at the club. Another Ajax player.
He's there's the Ajax strings. You guys always buy Ajax players, hey? But I don't mind. I get to watch two clubs that try to adapt the Cruyff philosophy. So if I always see a talent go from Ajax, the one club that I like seeing them go to is Barcelona. I was kind of gutted when De Ligt didn't go to Barcelona at that time and he went to Juventus. I was really disappointed with that decision. So yeah, it was,
hey, you can thank Mino Raiola for that.
Yeah, I know it was him. It was definitely him and his non-relationship with Bartomeu at the time. Okay, I think I'm gonna bring one last topic to the conversation because we've been on air now 1 hour, and I'd like to get your thoughts on the two summer tournaments. Who do you see is the favorites to win the Euros and the Copa America? If you have any thoughts on that, and then we'll probably leave that as the last question of the stream today. Umar, what are your thoughts on the summer tournaments coming up?
Yeah, definitely they're going to be very interesting and competitive. But my favorite teams, if you ask, obviously Argentina because of Messi.
Yeah.
And then in the Euros, I like Netherlands and Germany. But you have to be realistic at the same time. So definitely in the South American continent, Brazil is the strongest team. I mean, they have a really great squad. I mean, there's competition for even places. That is not the case with the other South American teams. They have barely good players in the starting 11. Even in Argentina and Chile, you'll see small names, but in case of Brazil, you'll see big names on the bench as well. Definitely that helps Brazil a lot, and they are the favorites to win the competition. However, I want Leo to win it. And as for the Euros, obviously the same as Brazil in South America, it is the same for the French squad in Europe. So I think France are the favorites for the Euros, but definitely I'd love Germany or Netherlands to win it.
Awesome. Good thoughts there. What are your thoughts for the Euros? Are you mainly following Spain for some of the La Masia talents, or how are you approaching the summer of football, Navid?
I'm definitely hoping for Spain. I mean, this summer is extra fun because there are no Madrid players and 5 La Masia players. So plenty of reason to cheer for Spain.
Yeah.
But no, realistically, Germany and France are really scary. Their squads are insane.
Yeah.
Portugal are Ronaldo is so lucky that he's gonna be carried by all these exceptionally good footballers around him.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, they're always a dark horse in Europe, and of course, I'm gonna have to I have to shout out Denmark here. Obviously, favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, but no, I mean, they could be fun from a Danish perspective. They could be fun because I'm Danish. It wasn't just random. They're actually the country of my my country, and they actually have some. They're arriving in great form, and they have a lot of good players. We saw one of them yesterday play extremely well in the final, replacing Thiago Silva.
Christensen is actually a good talent. Yeah, good talent him. Yeah.
And like speaking of nothing, he was very much in the cold. Like he was out in the cold on the Lampard, and he was playing extremely bad. He was like the long lay of Chelsea before Tuchel came.
Yeah.
And now that Tuchel has come, he has converted both him and Rudiger to players who can perform on the highest level. So that's an interesting detail about good coaches versus
100%
average coaches.
100%, yeah.
But no, for South America, I 100% agree with Umar. Like Brazil has by far the best squad. Just to be optimistic, the by far next best squad is Argentina's, and they seem to have somewhat like they have a team where there are some players who have been in magnificent form this season. Like the goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez has been great in England. Well, hopefully he'll play. The coach loves Armani, who's quite shit.
I know.
Then you have Foyth, who's done well with Villarreal. Lisandro Martinez, who's done great in Ajax. Tagliafico, still a good player, definitely good player. Rodrigo de Paul, one of the best players one of the best midfielders in Italy, if not in Europe. Like technically on the ball and like in terms of what he's produced, definitely one of the best. Leandro Paredes, great player for PSG. Giovanni Lo Celso, we know he's a great player as well. And then you have Di Maria, Messi, and Lautaro Martinez probably top. We have seen far worse Argentina sides, so hopefully. And one of the most important things about Argentina is that in terms of coaches, I honestly don't follow like South American football that closely. I'm the Argentinian FA. They're a very dramatic bunch. A lot of things happen all the time, but at least from my point of view, it looks good that they have had the same coach for quite a while now. I don't what's his name? I can't remember. You guys remember? Why can't I remember his name?
Who, the one that's coach now?
Yeah.
Ume, you should know this man.
Oh, Lionel Scaloni. Yeah.
Scaloni. Yeah.
Lionel Scaloni.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's been there for some time now. He's been there for some time now, and I hope that he has been able to give Argentina the stability they have needed for quite a while now. Actually, since the World Cup in 2014, they've just needed some stability. So yeah, I'm optimistic seeing them going to the final where they might be smashed by Brazil, but hopefully not.
I was gonna say we don't want that, but yeah, it could happen. Yeah. Cool. Well,
Marcel, you were saying something.
No, I said about who's the name of the Argentina coach. I thought maybe you would know with following Messi.
Yeah. It's Scaloni.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm obviously going to be cheering in orange this summer, cheering the Dutch on. But yeah, we're kind of one of those dark horses. I don't know if we can actually win the tournament. But never say never. I would love to see Depay have a good summer so he can come with confidence into Barcelona. Same with Frankie, obviously. Would love to see him have a good summer.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the Netherlands will be my third team. I think they could do that.
Let's go. You never want to dismiss the Orange Army, hey? Well, guys, it's been a great pleasure talking to you guys. It's been now just over an hour, so I think I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, you've been very fun guests to have on, so thank you so much for being on. So any last words before I wave you off, Navid? Any last words? This is your chance.
No, it's just been a pleasure, and thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Umer?
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me. Vamos Argentina.
Vamos. Cool. Well, thanks very much, guys. And see you on the timeline and on Twitter. Thanks so much. Ciao, ciao.
Goodbye. Bye.
Oh.
Right, guys, that was my first live stream when there's not a match after me. This is new, but thanks so much for the guys that joined the stream. To Umer, to Navid. It's great to have my first guest on for the summer streams. It's really great getting the insights, especially on the Masia talents. Gives me a lot of knowledge about it. So yeah, SJ just subscribed. SJ, welcome to the Marcel channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. And yeah, it's been a great pleasure having everyone also in the chat. So I want to say thank you to you guys as well. I think I'm gonna just put something on the background. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it at. So guys, see you next week on another stream, and we're gonna talk about more in depth about the Copa and the Euros because it's coming up. All right, see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
See you, bro.